set up this camera so you're right up in my grill. Perfect. That's how we like it. I hope you're all having a great day. We had the all-important inflation number that everybody was huffing and puffing and waiting for come out. So we're going to talk about that today. Fed expectations for next week. We got a lot of good stuff. And it's Friday as well. All right. So that's a good thing. We get a 2-day break, whether we like it or not as traders. You know, sometimes we need to be forced to take breaks. It is the kind of animal that we are. Let me turn off the news squawk. Okay, so here's where we're at. Okay, so the markets are up modestly off of yesterday's session. We had a really nice rally overnight, and we saw that overnight rally extend up to new all-time highs on the inflation print. Okay, so everything up across the board on the U.S. front. Europe is mostly flat. 10-year yield is flat as well. All the traders were kind of tuned into and waiting for inflation. So let's just jump into the elephant in the room here, the inflation number. It comes out softer, okay, after we had a delayed September release. So this data for inflation was due to originally be revealed on October 15th. So we're getting it about 9 days late. It's actually not that late, but it's still late. All right. It would have definitely been delayed if President Donald Trump and the White House hadn't intervened, with the demand that the BLS releases this report. And, the demand also came not just for the Fed coming up next week, but there's also pensions that are tied to this number based on index, based on inflation indexing. There goes the word. All right. That are also vital, and they take that off the September number. So September was more important than any other month for that reason. Okay, so at 8:30 the number came out, but remember, these BLS staff were recalled from being put, temporarily laid off because there's a government shutdown. So this is where the critical thinking cap that I have to put on, that I always wear, that people don't like. Sometimes people don't like that I question things so much. They get annoyed by it. But imagine you are a worker that works for the BLS, and due to no fault of yours, you are let go from your job temporarily. All right, your pay is suspended, and you're told the government is shut down, therefore we can't pay you. We're going to figure it out as politicians. It's not your fault. We're going to figure it out, and we're going to let you know when you're ready to come back to work. So you go off, no money, you're doing your thing, and then you're called and say, get your ass back to the office. We got to figure out this number. You go, this is my interpretation of it. You come back, you're like freaking out. You don't even know your office anymore. Your coffee mug is drying up at the bottom. You're like, that's disgusting. Your sandwich is still in the drawer, and you're like, this is nasty. And you're sitting down and you're trying to figure out this number. What I'm saying is, there's a chance that these numbers aren't correct. Right? We'll never know. Okay, but they're rushed. This is a rushed number. It's a rushed report, and with limited resources. Also, I think a lot of assumptions may have been made in calculating these numbers because all the other data agencies are closed. So how the heck would you know what the latest data is if you're the only one that was recalled to work? Take it with a grain of salt. Okay, it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what the markets think. So 8:30 comes out. Let's hit to the numbers right away now. The core CPI number month over month is 0.2% versus 0.3% expected. This isn't trading versus the prior number that came out. This trades versus expectation. This is how it prints, and this is why it's important. All right, the core number, CPI year over year. It means it excludes the food and gas prices and energy prices because they're the most volatile. That's why it's called core. The other one's called headline. All right, the core number is 3% annualized versus 3.1 expected. All right. So that puts inflation as cooling down 0.1% on an annual basis. But it isn't the number, it's the direction. So the fact that it's lower, even by 0.1%, the minimal amount that it could be lower, maybe only lower based on rounding error. We'll never know unless we have the real BLS data, but we're lower. All right. And that right there helps. What does that help? We have a Federal Reserve meeting next week. Okay. And next week on the 29th, the Fed is going to decide if they're going to cut rates. What's widely expected, we're going to get one rate cut from them. Okay. So rates are going to go down by 0.25% point. Okay. The near-term Fed outlook and expectations hasn't shifted much because they're not data isn't going to be the reason for 2 cuts. All right, this data doesn't help the Fed cut. This data prevents them from not cutting. All right, this is the important part I want you guys to understand, because traders so often, like, you need to get this language right and to know what you're actually looking at, because it makes a big, big difference. All right, so, it helps them. Nothing here to stop them from doing the cut. So the cut is happening next week on December 29th meeting, all right? December's meeting, which is the last one of the year, got a little bit more hawkish on the expectation of rate cuts. All right, they were still expected to do a cut in December as well, but it just got a little more probable or a little more likely. Here's the thing. This is only data you got, right? So it's kind of like, all right, make a decision. You're like, give me all the information. You're like, no, here's one piece of information. Make a decision. And you make a decision and the whole market reacts. You're like, oh my God, wow. But you're missing so much information, and the information that's missing is the most important information, because you're going to hear it here, maybe first, maybe not. Who knows what other stuff you're going to read for the rest of the day. But if you're reading good stuff, this is what they're going to say. This is great, an inflation number, great news. You know, hoorah, we're all clapping and applauding for it. But the Fed isn't motivated by inflation. Okay, yes, it's part of their mandate. Right now, the Fed is the most motivated by jobs, by the labor market. We haven't gotten a labor market survey for the month of September because we went on a shutdown, right? So we need that number as well, not just inflation, but we need the jobs number. That's the one that, would help the Fed the most, but they're not going to get that. By the way, the BLS staff is the same people that do the jobs numbers. So while you're at work, come on, guys. Get to work a little more. You're probably not getting paid for it. Why don't you work a little extended overtime? It's easy to get somebody to work overtime when you're not paying them. Oh, man, that's so bad. Okay, so that's inflation. So, yes, inflation's a little softer. Market kind of got excited. It rallied. We'll talk about how we're going to trade it in the market context in a second. I just want you to understand those two things about inflation. Inflation's softer, okay? Versus last year, it's actually not. It is still upticking slightly, but versus expectations, it's softer. These numbers are put together by people that were summoned in the last minute of the 24th hour of the clock for them to give you this report. Who knows how great it is, but it does help the Fed support the rate cut next week, and the market likes it because lower rates means more leverage for cheaper. Simple as that. All right. In other news, Intel is up 8% after strong earnings. Tech sector's up. Google's up 1.5%. All right. Gold pulls back from 41.44 as yields rise. All right. There's an alternative to safe havens of gold, is having the yield rate go up. It means you get paid more for taking less risks and holding gold. So gold sells off and more flows into Treasury. Okay. On macro and policy, U.S. to investigate China's compliance with Section 301 trade terms. Blah, blah, blah. Trump and Xi meeting confirmed for next Thursday. So next week is shaping up to be a big one. Wednesday, you got the Fed. Thursday, you got the China and U.S. trade meeting, trade talks happening in the APEC 2025 summit. All right. Yeah. Okay, Bank of England or Bank of Canada's cutting next week. I'm not going to talk about Canada. Canada's in the news for other reasons again today, but it's not going to impact the market. All right, let's look at the option walling, because we have some good walls here. We have call walls sitting around 6850 to 6900. All right, that's clear upside resistance. It's important because we almost got there post CPI, but we didn't. All right, largest put stack is near 6675. That's far away, but that is the biggest downside support. All right, so here's my overnight levels. Just making sure they didn't change. Would you guys like to do this? Turn around and do it on the screen behind me. I'm going to configure my camera, my studio, my trading office, whatever you want to call it. So I have this view camera for the update, and then I could turn around. I'll have camera, and then you could see the other view with the screen share. But if you'd like, turn around. We could do these levels as a screen share. But I can't get distracted. I got another 6-7 minutes. I got to get into the trading room. So let me see. Free government work is always the best. Right, Michael? They get to collect taxes, but Lord forbid that you miss your tax return by a little bit here. You're going to be charged penalties, but you can work for free. All right, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to just read it out. Okay, so, but I did have to confirm the level. Yeah, the high is still. Oh, man, pardon me. Ooh. A little off-camera cough. Guys, I got this cold, and it's so weird. I don't know if I'm going to make it past the weekend. I'm kidding, but it gets worse the more time that passes. It doesn't get better. Let me just take a drink, and we'll finish this up. That's a perfect way to dehydrate your body with a sip of coffee, right? When all your body wants is water, you give it coffee, because there is water in coffee. All right, these are my levels. The overnight high is currently at 68.37 quarter on the S&P 500 futures. Non-coincidentally, that's a new all-time high as well in the futures market. So we put in a new all-time high on excitement of a CPI report. All right, the pre-CPI overnight high was 6,800 even. Mark that on your chart. So many times you get a news event and people find out the after news event number because that's the one that's still visible. You're like, yeah, I went up to the 37 quarter. That's the high. I can see it. Yeah, but where was it before CPI hit? Because if you don't know the level of the market of where it was before the news came out, you're missing the most important information of the day, most important context. That level is often retested. It becomes the best trading level of the day. Okay, so now you know it. 6,800, you're prepared. Prior day high, 67.85 3 quarter. Overnight low. Oh my gosh. Oh, that one hit the chest. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to finish this, but overnight low, 76 3 quarter. This is the trading plan. All right, I'm gonna give you the trading plan, and then I'm gonna go get some Benadryl. I used to be in the music industry, and for some reason, those guys love their cough syrup with Sprite and Jolly Rancher. Maybe I'll call one of them and get myself a little delivery here to deal with my cough. All right, this is the trading plan. 1/10 of a percentage point is enough to push markets to all-time highs. This is what I wrote. Market goes to all-time high on the CPI print. It's great. All right, expectations for a Fed cut. But question is, can we hold here? Can we hold this new all-time high? Is the CPI pop to wipe out those buy stops enough to accumulate new buyers to generate consolidation, acceptance of this level, and ideally another impulsive move higher? All right, that's what we're going to find out today. If we do, we got a lot of upside liquidity to squeeze out. Right, we've been ranging here for a long time. So if we start pushing and the call wall suggests 68.50 is that level, we go 51, 52, 53 bid. We unleash a lot of liquidity from, dealers chasing the gamma hedge, so having the buy on their way up, shorts puking after holding short position for almost a week now in this consolidation price, longs adding position to now that there's a fresh breakout traders getting long, FOMO traders initiating the longs. There's a lot of buy liquidity to the upside is what I'm saying. It'll be a bull party, but first we got to watch the retest of 6,800. That's a pre-CPI overnight high. And oftentimes when you get a report like this that pushes price higher, you have to know where the price came from before the report, because we're going to revisit that level. That level is 6,800, like I said. If we can't hold that as a support, if we can hold it first, I'm going to look for my order flow moment to get me long and to get a couple points to start, maybe a couple more if the order flow momentum is sustained. All right. If not, if we get the 6,800 and we can't hold it and we break below it, then the CPI was just a head fake to wipe out buy stops, and now we got more selling downside, and it could hit pretty hard. And that's kind of the risk of today's session is 6,800 becomes that level. There's a little bit more support lower. All right. But short will be the right side. If we get the 6,800 and we break below and we can't hold, it's going to be trouble. Or if we hold the 6,800, go back up and we can't push a new high today, it's going to be a trouble. So the gift today is that, yes, we hit new all-time highs. The curse is now we got to go above that level to close out the week, or else we turn to a sell. All right. I thought I was really going to be able to hold it together without that last cough. All right. Today, this is your reminder. You're not the big guns. I'm not the big guns. All right. It's the massive institutional positions that may be forced to readjust their portfolios. That's who's going to be whipping the market around. I think that happens above the 50 and the new all-time high, and I think that's going to cause a lot of buy stops. Until then, the question is, does 6,800 hold for a pullback? As we approach the 40, 50 area, Will we fail there? And if we do, watch out below, because this could be a dirty sell day if we don't push or hold support. All right, this day becomes very important. Join us in the trading room. I'm there every single weekday. We go from about 9:20 to 11 a.m. Eastern. I mainly handle the order flow information, and I'm predominantly the order flow trader there. But we also have other traders. You have so much insight, context, and so much value in that room. I'd love to see you there. Check it out. Go to TRADEPROacademy.com. Sign up for the elite package, and I'll be waiting for you there. I'm going to turn around very quick, take a question or two, and we'll be out of here. And obviously have a cough, because what would it be like if I didn't have one more cough? Josiah, buddy, anyone who says they're the big guns are not the big guns. The big guns themselves don't want to be outed as big guns, number one. Number two, sorry to disappoint you, bro. Damn, I just turned this into a horrible Friday, huh? I'm sure you'll find ways to lift yourself up for the weekend. That's so funny. But I appreciate you, Josiah. That's a funny joke. Guys, thank you. Michael, appreciate you. J-Rad, my brother, hope you're good. MS, good morning. Hope you're good as well. OTM 8 Memo. How much is that elite package? I've been wanting to join y'all Discord. OTM, it's $219 USD a month with a 7-day guarantee. So if you join us and you absolutely hate everything and you just want to come to the morning market updates again, that's fine. You could always do that after. You have 7 days to decide if it's for you. No BS. This isn't one of those things I take your credit card and then you regret giving it to us. It's, you check it out. You have 7 days to decide. You get full access to Discord, full access to the trading room. And if you really don't mess with it, that's fine, bro. You just email us. We're not even going to ask you a question. We'll ask you for feedback, but your answer in the question isn't necessary for the refund. We process it. And I basically end up paying for it because we get processing fees and all that. But I hope if you check it out, now's the time. Check it out. Get that 7-day guarantee. And at the end of the day, I'm here for you as well every single morning. I appreciate you guys so much. You guys have yourself a great rest of your weekend. Let's get this trading day out of the way. Have a great weekend. Love, joy, and happiness to you and your beautiful families, guys. Enjoy. Take care. I'll see you Monday. Bye-bye.